Hello, I'm live, and it's not Friday. Like I said, I was going to do lives on Fridays, and I have some time today, and I couldn't think of anything in particular that I wanted to do a video on, so I thought I'll just go live. So if you're on here and you have any questions, fire away. You can start asking them now. Um, I just got off of the phone with a client who in the last 6 months has made like the most amazing progress. She's someone who has like genuinely trusted the process and really wanted to recover and has not had an easy time breaking a lot of the eating disorder rules and compulsions that she had. And I've seen her struggle through. It hasn't been a perfect recovery for her at all, but it's just been really cool to see how much she's changed. And just talking to her, she even said, like, I just can't believe she just recently went out and got a burger and a vodka with her brother, and she just couldn't believe how normal it felt and that she could actually do that. Where before the thought of eating out, she hadn't eaten out at a restaurant in years and years and years. And that she could just go and do that. And just like her excitement and joy for life and her energy is and her confidence is amazing. It's so cool. And I see this happen all the time. And it's what makes me love my job. I seriously feel so grateful that I get to work with you guys that are so awesome and committed and dedicated to your recovery and to getting your life back. So I just wanted to share that because I think it just puts a smile on my face. Love it so much. So does anyone have any questions? I see some people are on here, but I'm not seeing any questions come up. So I can just keep on babbling away. Let's see, what else can I talk about? There's something I was thinking about. Oh, Victoria has a question. I do. Hi. Okay. Um, oh, okay. Here they come. Lillian. You probably answered this many times, but I'm not underweight, not anymore since treatment, and I decided to go in, but I don't look ill. I'm so scared of what others may think of my body. Yes, I have answered that many times, and you are not alone in that fear, and you're not alone in your situation. Um, from my experience, most people that are struggling with eating disorders do not look like they're ill. If you want to, say that there's a look to that, most people don't look that part. And most people who don't look that part, so again, majority of people trying to recover have that exact same fear. Well, if I actually do this and I go completely, 100% into recovery and I allow my body to become unsuppressed and I do nothing to try to suppress it any longer, people are going to judge me. People are going to have a problem with that. People are going to question why I'm doing this. And you might be right, right? You likely may be right. But the point of the matter is, who cares? And I know we care about what other people think of us naturally as humans, to some degree. Each person is going to care a little bit about what other people think of them. However, in this situation, you caring what other people think about you is keeping you from being able to live your fullest life. It's making you miserable. It's not allowing you to be able to experience all that life has to offer because you're living in fear of the judgment of other people. And when you say it out loud like that, it doesn't make sense, right? It's kind of like, oh, geez, yeah, that's really what's happening. You're living in fear of what other people think of you and that judgment that they have of you, and you're not allowing yourself to be free, essentially, from your eating disorder because of that. Um, Obviously, that's easier said than done. And the way you go about doing that and getting to a point where you're not so worried about someone's judgment anymore is, and I've talked about this many times too, is recognizing that if someone has a problem with you trying to get to be your healthiest self and trying to heal yourself from a mental disorder or an illness, then that person doesn't really need to be in your life. That's somebody who doesn't truly, truly love you or have your best interest, and or just doesn't completely understand. And that's mostly where judgment comes from, when people don't understand your whole story. I remember my dad telling me that when I was a kid. The number one reason people judge someone is because they don't understand their situation. And so that's likely and a very common reason why someone may be judging you when you don't look sick and you go into recovery and you start gaining weight, and they may say, what is she doing? Oh my gosh, that's reckless. This isn't good for her. All these things. They don't understand your entire situation. And if they did, and they truly loved you, they would not be judging you. They would be encouraging you and supporting you and really happy for you. So hopefully that was Something I said in there was helpful. Okay. Holly Evans, restrictions have come back into the UK, which means I won't be walking to and from work and I'm panicking. Any advice on how to go on with recovery? Well, it doesn't sound like you were in recovery before if you were walking to and from work, right? I don't know. I mean, maybe you were, and that was something that it was unavoidable for you to get to work and back, and now you're panicking. Well, instead of how do you go on with recovery, you can look at it as a blessing and an opportunity for you to rewire that compulsion finally, because it sounds like you hadn't done any rewiring on that if you're freaking out about the fact that you can no longer walk. So the way you go about that is you commit to, wow, now I actually have the opportunity to not have to walk at all anymore, which is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing anyways in recovery. So I'm going to take advantage of this and really, really go for it. I'm really going for it with the food. The worst thing you could do is think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be walking to and from work anymore. So now I've got to be more careful with my food. I can't eat everything that I want, or I've got to start, cutting back on this or that, or I need to be more careful because I'm not going to be doing my walking. Does that sound like somebody who's in recovery? It sure doesn't to me, right? So first ask yourself, check yourself and be like, am I actually trying to recover? And if you're actually trying to recover, again, the silver lining in this is that you actually are going to be able to rest like you need to be doing in recovery anyways. And not changing, if anything, adding more to what you're eating. So it sounds like you're probably still in a bit of a deficit. And the fact that you're panicking about now walking tells me that you're probably mentally hungry. So it's a win-win. You have more time to eat now. Okay, let's see. All right, Rachel, I assume I'm getting out of energy deficit because I'm seeing a lot of signs, including a drop in appetite. Yeah, assuming that there's not something else going on in your life that would cause that drop of appetite, like some big stressor, that's just kind of naturally happening. And you don't have any emotions. I talked about this in the past. Like, you don't have any emotions like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited I have a drop in appetite. Maybe this means that I'm, not going to gain any more weight. Well, you probably are prematurely trying to drop that appetite down. But if you genuinely are having a lower appetite and you're just kind of noticing or observing that, then yeah, that's usually a sign that you're coming out of a deficit. That being said, if you've rewired nothing and you're having a drop in appetite, you still probably have quite a bit of a deficit and you probably still need to work on rewiring. Okay. Let's see, where am I? Lillian, I don't understand why I'm so hungry all the time since I'm not underweight. Well, again, you're assuming you're not underweight because of like a BMI chart or because of the way that you look. But for your body, it sounds like you are underweight because you're manifesting all the same symptoms and behaviors as someone that does have an eating disorder. So, yeah, you're hungry all the time because your body's not happy where it is right now. Hello, Robin. Oops, Hazel's got a hold of my tripod. Okay, sorry. This person's name is sorry on here. Okay, I'm not saying I'm sorry. I'm just reading off. Sorry has a question. Hi, Becky. Can you talk about event restriction? Even little events like when you go out for dinner. Also, can you talk about orthorexia? I'm eating enough, but I feel like I'm turning orthorexic. Okay, so event restriction. Can I talk about it? Like when you go out for dinner. So when I tell people, when people struggle with event restriction, which is majority of my clients, early on in recovery, what I tell them is don't even go about, you may have gotten advice in the past of like, don't event restrict, don't change what you're eating just because you're going out. But I'm going to say, do change what you're eating just because you're going out. And by change, I mean, eat even more, be even more bold. When you have an opportunity to go out or do something, some kind of event that's going to be more than what you're used to eating, like during that time of day, make the entire day just more. And that's what I kind of had to do was I found that like, if I'm going out to lunch with friends, what would happen is suddenly I would like want to skimp on breakfast or I'd want to cut back somewhere. And instead I had to be like, I'm going to have a big, big, big breakfast. And then I'm going to go out to lunch with friends. And then I'm planning on cooking this big dinner and I'm not cutting back. And so I had to just like do the exact opposite of what I naturally wanted to do, is eat more. Sorry, Hazel. Hazel, say hi to the camera. You see her runny nose? She's so not happy in her rosy cheeks. She got her flu shot yesterday. And she woke up feeling not great today. So sorry, she's a little ornery. We'll see how far I can get into this before she gets too loud though. And you feel like you're turning out orthorexic? Eating enough but feel like I'm turning orthorexic. Well then recognize that and go start eating, cheeseburgers and pizza and kind of assess what is your fruits and vegetable intake, and if it seems excessive, then cut back on that or stop eating that. It sounds like because you know that that's happening, now you have an opportunity to change it, right? Also, when someone starts recovery and they never had orthorexic tendencies and then they start, to me, that's usually a sign that they have mental hunger. Yeah. So it's like you're trying to eat more food because you realize how hungry you are, but you're terrified of eating more food because it can cause weight gain. So instead, what are you doing? You're just like, oh, I'm going to fill up on high volume food. I'm going to fill up on healthier food. So then that feels better for me. That'll make me feel better about eating more without so much guilt. And that just doesn't work. Orthorexia is just another version of an eating disorder. So not a good option. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Rachel, I found that now when I eat to my new lower appetite, it's not always enough and it starts triggering mental hunger again. I assume these ebbs and flows and normalizing hunger is normal. Yeah, but if you're finding that you're having like mental hunger shoot up quite frequently, then I would intentionally keep pushing more food. Even, sorry, I just got up to grab Hazel something. I would just intentionally keep eating more food, even if you don't necessarily feel like you want to have more food. Just be like, you know what, I noticed like eating this amount, even though I am not feeling mentally or physically hungry for it. I just know this is going to help me to not feel mentally hungry later. So I just kind of need to up what I'm eating. So just kind of look at that and see if that helps. Because my guess is you're kind of suppressing or masking that mental hunger if you're having a lower appetite, but then this mental hunger keeps popping up. So I guess that's how I would answer that question. That's kind of a complicated answer, or I guess that's kind of a more specific question. A majority of people that are on here are typically not in that position, but it sounds like some are from comments when I've made videos on relapse prevention. It sounds like some people are, and that's one that it would be better to talk to that person one-on-one to kind of navigate. And there's a lot of questions I could ask to kind of figure out what's going on there. But in general, just eat more until you're absolutely positive that you're getting plenty. Okay, I'm a year into recovery. I'm craving sweet foods lately. I thought by now that would be over. Well, I don't think, I mean, I crave sweet foods often. I go through periods where I'm like, all I want is chocolate. And I go through periods where I just want like sour, like licorice and gummies and weird things like that. And I'm not like questioning it or worried about it. So I don't think just because you're craving that stuff a year into recovery means that there's anything wrong with you. It could maybe be that you're not getting enough just food in general, so your body's craving that. For me, I've just noticed it's usually around my period. So maybe, I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like you need to have a reason for that. I feel like if you're craving sweets, then just eat sweets. It doesn't, I think oftentimes people get this idea that like once you recover, you're never going to like crave processed food again, or you're never going to crave chocolate again because you're recovered. And it's like, what? Who gave you that idea? It's not it at all. I still love treats and I still crave chocolate and I still like that stuff. It's just the amounts in which I eat them are so different than they were when I was in recovery. Okay, let's see. Victoria, is it bad to notice and like redistribution of weight? There have been little changes in my body, nothing dramatic, but I look more in proportion now. I would say it's good that you're recognizing that you notice them and that you're questioning, like, is this a bad thing? I think that's good. But I guess it would be bad if you started to like take that and run and like get overly excited and feel like, ooh, my gosh, maybe now that like my body's starting to look more proportionate, maybe I should start, eating less or just getting, more into exercise. Like I think that's what happens when people start noticing that redistribution. I've seen is they get like hyper overly excited about it, and instead just observe it and just be like, interesting that that's happening. Maybe my body's feeling safe now and it feels like it's healed everything it needs to, and I'm just going to keep going with what's working for me. I'm going to keep honoring my hunger. I'm going to keep being honest about my behaviors. And yeah, just if you find yourself getting overly excited about it, try to just take a step back, pause, and be like, hold on, why am I excited about this? Why does it matter? This isn't a big deal. Okay. Let's see. I think I've actually gained more weight in certain areas, but I like how I look better now. I'm worried that's disordered. Yeah, it kind of is. Maybe just don't spend so much time. Don't spend so much time focusing on it. That's another thing is I don't remember like noticing the redistribution until like quite a while after, and then I was like, I guess yeah, if I look at pictures I look a little bit different, but it wasn't this like from day to day. I'm like, I think things are changing. I think my stomach's going. I think it's like if you catch yourself doing that, try to veer away from that and distract yourself with other things. Okay, I might have to go. Hazel's getting a little crazy. Hazel, do you want to say hi again? No. Okay. Is it bad? Okay, did that. Carrie, hi Becky. Any advice on how to handle weight gain in a society that praises weight loss and fitness, along with the inundation of media messages telling us how we should look? Funny you should ask this question. I just posted on my Instagram account a text message that I get. I get these frequently from all random different people and places, but just like, hey, Becky, drop 50 pounds in 2 weeks by doing X, Y, and Z, and take this pill and never exercise. And it's just like the stupidest. Like, seriously, who falls for that crap? But just the fact that they're sending it to me is really irritating. So I sent back something along the lines of like, I don't actually want to gain weight. Leave me alone. Stop. But you're going to be faced with that pretty much your, entire life until things really change, which I don't know if that's going to be in our lifetime. And so you're going to just have to get a thick skin when you're in recovery. And then once you're recovered, that kind of stuff doesn't affect me. Like if I would have gotten something like that when I was vulnerable in the middle of recovery and really, having a hard time accepting my body, yeah, I probably would have like clicked on the text and found out how to do that. But when you are in a good place and that just isn't important to you anymore, you can kind of just laugh at stuff like that. And same thing with diet culture. People can talk about their diets and weight loss and all these things. And I just don't, it doesn't interest me and it doesn't trigger me. And so the way that you get to that point is just fully recover. Just fully recover and do what you need to be able to do. As far as accepting your body and letting it just be so that you can get to a place where it doesn't bother you. Okay, I'm going to have to go. Hazel's not happy, and I'm sure this is too distracting for those listening. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye.